Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Hockey Pool. I'm Andrew, and I'm going to take you through how to set up your box draft. So what you're seeing here is the admin page when you first logged in. This is where you're going to go to kind of control and set up your pool for everyone. What I've done is I've gone into an initialized pool, initialized edit pool here, and I've given each team a name. That's kind of all I've done right there. You might not do that yet, and you don't have to do that yet, but that's what I've done here. And pretty much nothing else has been touched here. So let's go to configure box draft here. This is where you're going to set up the box draft for all of your poolies, all your folks that are going to get in there. So let's say we have 20 boxes with 5 player selections each. I can do that. I can say, well, I'm going to have 20 individual boxes with a selection of 5 players, and you're going to have the chance to select as a poolie when you're entering the pool. Select 1 player from each box. Now you can make that 2. You can modify this in any way you want, but let's just for the start assume that it's 20 boxes of 5 players with 1 selection from each box. So you hit that, you go to the new box draft setup. And my internet's a little slow, so please forgive that. And you'll have 20 categories here to fill in and player names. And just like if you're entering players in the regular box draft, you can enter their names over here. So you can pick the player like that, and just make sure that that little number in square brackets at the end is in field. That makes sure that you get the proper player. So that's definitely what you want. Just getting some stats thrown in there. But you'll also want to name the category here. So call it hot shots or something like that. You'll want to pick the scoring type. So you can score as a forward, goalie, penalty, defense, bonehead, left wing, whatever you do, and you can set up what the point scoring is on the main page, and you go back and have a look at that. Right now, I'm just going to choose forward. That's kind of the default. It'll go in there, and you only want 1 selection from this field. So let's say we go in and we say we want Kucherov and we want David, of course. That's going to be in one of those tough to select categories here at the top. And Panarin, because you think the Rangers might do something this year, and Pasternak. So you've got a good selection of teams, and you like that. And if you go down to the bottom, you can update, and you will see that those player selections are enshrined over here. And so that's what your poolies are going to see. They're going to see these 5 players. They're going to need to select 1, and you can continue doing that. We'll call it passers, let's say. Select 1, and we'll just kind of continue. Matthews, we'll add Draisaitl, we'll add Miller, we'll add Nylander, a couple of Toronto players, but you can select your own. Reinhardt there. Actually, no, for the last one, let's add Pasternak. And then we'll go down and we'll hit update. So one of the things that we will do for you is we will go through your player selection and you go, wait a second, you got Pasternak in 2 boxes, rounds 1 and 2. So you can either say, that's fine, I'm going to ignore it, or you can go, whoops, yeah, no, I didn't mean to do that. I meant to, put a car in here or something like that. Right, and then go down here, update. And it's corrected. And that's the way, if you need to edit any of these player selections, just go ahead, type the new name in here, hit update, and it will correct to that. If for some reason you need to leave a selection blank, so let's say you're really only interested in them selecting from the Leafs, from the Rangers, from Colorado, and from St. Louis for whatever reason. And you don't want to have a 5th choice down there. Well, the special player no one is available for that, and that means there will be no player listed there, and so you will not be able to select it. So that's how you get differing numbers of players in boxes. If you need to, you can fill in ones where you don't have as many categories into no one. Okay. That's all well and good, and you can keep doing this, and you can go through and make your own selections if you want. But if you want a kind of starting point, we've kind of done this for you. So if you go back into configure box draft, there's a button down here which will initialize the boxes with our crazy selections that we've picked for you. So we'll go in here, go back to configure box draft. Now you see we got 20 and 6. And if we look in here, you're going to see that we've got a bunches of players in categories. Now this is still a week before the playoffs start, so we may have gotten players in here that are not going to make the playoffs. If you draft a player that doesn't make the playoffs, there will be a line struck through that player. So you'll notice when it displays that that player is not available. That being said, if you try to pick a player that's not in the playoffs that we already know. So at this point, we know that Anaheim isn't in the playoffs, so I can't put in Vatrano. It won't come up for you. So that's a way to know if you're trying to enter a player and they're not in the playoffs for whatever reason, that you won't be able to add them. If you do need to add them, contact us. We'll show you how to work around it. But in general, people shouldn't be drafting players that are not in the playoffs. Who else is on the cusp right now? Let's see. There are, let's see. So Washington. So Washington players, for example, are on the cusp right at the moment. And I could still add Strome, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So you do that. And if I did draft that player, then when I went back to it after the playoffs have been decided, you would see a strike through the name to show that that player was not available for drafting. So that's you setting it up. And this link should link to this video you're watching now. So say you've gone through and done that, and you're totally happy with the draft selections as such. You, of course, can edit them if you want, but if you do edit them, just don't go back and hit this again. This will reset it back to whatever that default was. So hit it once, set it up, edit it, and then save, and you're good. So how do your poolies draft? Well, I've set up, as I said, I've set up all of these players here at the top. I am going to now show the box draft link. So what I could do is there are some crazy passwords here by default because I've been playing with this a little bit, but you can then take and copy that link and send that off to Aaron, and you can copy this link and send it off to Benicia, and you can copy this link and send it off to Corey. That's a little bit labor intensive. So what you can do instead, if you don't want to give everyone a very specific link to say, hey, here's the link to go select your team, you can instead enable first come, first serve. And once you do that, you come here and you will see that you're given a single link. And if I copy this link and I go here, like that, it will show you this. So I can enter a fake email address here. I can, if I have an existing team already drafted, I can log into it here. But since I don't, and I've used Bar for both Benencia and Corey, so they're both the same email address. Only if you put your own email address in will come in here, but you still need a password. But I'm going to just create a new team here. I'm going to call this Andrew's Goons. I'm going to use a dumb password like thing, use a better one. And I'm going to create my team. So there we go. And if I don't like it, I can edit it again here, and I can edit the password here. And then I can go through and I think I blew I blew it on that first player in setting this up, but I'm going to ignore that for now. I can go back and correct that and go through, and I'm just going to randomly pick players in these boxes and not pay much attention to what I'm doing, because I'm actually making an error right now. Because for our default setups, in round 11, we're supposed to pick 2 goalies. So they'll get that error message and they can use their browser's back button and go, oh yeah, pick 2 teams, any 2 teams. So I'm going to pick 2 teams, pick another 2 teams. I'm going to go back and see, there's another one where I'm supposed to pick 2. And don't criticize me on these picks. I'm doing them randomly. And then if I save, it'll go back and boom, you'll come to the daily stats page. So here you can see that the the team that this person drafted. And of course, since I set up these box drafts, Buffalo and New Jersey have mathematically been eliminated and are shown as struck through. Now, your players might say, well, wait a second, once I draft my team, I don't want other people to see what I've drafted. That's no good. That's terrible. They'll copy me. I've made such good selections. I don't want them to do that. So what you can then do is, until the season starts, you can say, hide poolie selections. So you click that, and then when you go to the daily stats page, what people will see is like, oh, Andrew's Goons have a drafted team, but I can't see what their teams are comprised of at this point. So that's a little privacy for everybody, so they can't do it. Then once the playoffs start, and you don't want anyone to monkey with their teams, you've got the lock player selection. So if we do that, and then for whatever reason, I wanted to go back, let's say, and come here, and I said that, and I will go and I will say, I'll refresh that because I've used the same email address again, and I want to go back. Okay, so here we go, and I can log into my thing. It's going to say, sorry, your administrator's locked player selection. You can't make any further changes or register a new team. So it's going to stop you from doing that. I'm going to unlock this again just for a moment, because if I did do something wrong, and I did actually on the first player here, and here it looks like I zapped it with a blank Anaheim player there. Who did I put in here? It was Kucherov. So if I do that, if your players, it won't automatically update if someone selected that on their team. Probably not saying that in a very clear way. So if over here, let's refresh this. Actually, I'll do it this way. So I've selected Kucherov, right? And I'll save that. And Kucherov is definitely the player I selected. If I then go in and change the box draft so that this is I follow, I don't know, someone that's unlikely, but whatever, be there. But if I did that, if I put the wrong player into the box and then I made this change, the poolie is still going to have, I need to unlock use, hang on, sorry. That's unhide, looks like. Okay, so if I come back here and refresh, you'll see in round one, I still have Kucherov selected. So just because I've changed it on the box doesn't mean everyone who selected it changed here. To do that, they're going to have to go back to the draft like this. It's still Kucherov there because I'm back in my browser, so I'm now reconform. There I'll see Alex Iafolo, and I can then save. And when I go to my Goons, circle my number, and you'll see that I've switched. So that's just in case you do change the box players after the fact, it doesn't automatically change what people have selected because they get a team drafted. We will be going through just before the playoffs, updating the list to make sure that we haven't got any players that are out of the playoffs in our default draft thing. But that's basically, I think, everything you need to know about the box draft. Good luck in your pool. I hope you crush it.